Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, at the press avail that Elon Musk, a.k.a. Harry Bowles, had with President again Trump yesterday. He discussed basically a two-step process to eliminate the federal budget deficit this fiscal year. Take a listen.
At a high level, okay, well, what are the two ingredients that are really necessary in order to cut the budget deficit in half from $2 trillion to $1 trillion? And it's really two things: competence and caring. And if you add competence and caring, you'll cut the budget deficit in half. And I fully expect to be scrutinized and get a daily proctology exam, basically. Might as well just camp out there. So it's not like I think I can get away with something. I'll be scrutinized nonstop. But with the support of the president, we can cut the budget deficit in half from $2 trillion to $1, and then with deregulation, because there's a lot of sort of regulations that don't ultimately serve the public good. We need to free the builders of America to build. And if we do that, that means I think we can get the economic growth to be maybe 3-4%, maybe 5%. And that means if you can get $1 trillion of economic growth and you can cut the budget deficit by $1 trillion, between now and next year, there is no inflation. There's no inflation in 26. And if the government is not borrowing as much, it means that interest costs decline. So the mortgage, their car payment, their credit card bills, anything, their student debt, the monthly payments drop. That's a fantastic scenario for the average American. I mean, imagine they're going down the grocery aisle and the prices from one year to the next are the same.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way to make the argument. You have to do some dot connecting, and it's always more difficult than just being the guy who passes out other people's money, which is what the left does. But that's precisely it. We're not just cutting spending to cut spending. We're cutting spending for the purpose of and reducing regulation to unleash the builders to build, as Elon Musk said, for the purpose of improving your quality of life and the cost of said quality of life.
And it's what the voters wanted. That's what we voted for. We wanted, control of spending in government.
Indeed. Steve Moore, noted economist, author of The Trump Economic Miracle and the Plan to Unleash Prosperity Again, co-authored with Art Laffer. Steve, Elon Musk is reading from your playbook.
Yeah, boy. I'm with Amy. I think we all want smaller and more efficient government. And, I look through these things that Elon Musk is discovering in our budget, and it's almost as rotten as Illinois' budget, Dan. That's how bad it is. But, I've been in Washington for 35 years, and the one thing the left has never wanted, Dan and Amy, was for someone like Elon Musk to lift up the hood and look under it and see how government is actually operating. And by doing this, he is casting this big light to the American people on how this money is actually being spent. I mean, my favorite example, it's just such an outlandish expenditure, and it's not that much money, but $10 million for subscriptions to Politico and the Washington Post and things like that. $10 million a year.
No, there's no question. State-run media. So now you know why this. If you didn't know before, why the media is so protective of big government, because they're on the dole, of course. Yeah.
Right. I mean, the guys who started Politico are multimillionaires right now. Now we know how they became millionaires. But the other thing that really excites me about what Elon Musk and Donald Trump are doing, and boy, what a duo this is did you see? Trump is doing so much so quickly, it's hard to keep track of all these.
I almost need him to take a day off to just breathe.
I know, exactly.
Honestly.
This is one of my favorite ones. I don't know if you guys saw it, but all of those regulations on heaters, air conditioners, light bulbs, what kind of car you can buy, the stoves in your kitchen. He's basically repealing all of those and saying, hey, it's your house, it's your home. You can buy whatever you want. You can put whatever car you want in the garage. You don't have to buy a fluorescent light bulb. You can actually you can have a toilet that actually flushes. You can have a shower where the water actually comes out. I mean, what a concept.
That's not to say there aren't people pushing back, domestic and foreign as well, particularly with respect to the proposed tariffs, even though we're on hiatus.
Oh, Dan, I know you were going to come after me on that one. I'm ready for you, my friend.
I'm not coming after you. No, that's not me. It's Canadian New Democrat Party leader Jagmeet, emphasis on Jag Singh, who put Trump on notice.
Yeah, the first step is going to be dollar for dollar retaliatory tariffs. Impose a tariff on us, we'll impose a tariff back on you.
No.
Again, no one wins in these trade wars. But this is not a fight that we wanted to pick. We were happy to continue to have a strong relationship. Donald Trump has picked this fight, so we're going to fight back. We just announced today, what I would do is put in place a 100% tariff on Tesla, directly targeting Elon Musk. Because Elon Musk is proudly touting this idea of the 51st state, so let's hit back at Elon Musk. I've also said we should shut down the supply of critical minerals. Another move that directly targets Elon Musk and his Tesla company. The batteries that he needs require these critical minerals. We've got tools, and we should be ready to use them. It's not something that we wanted to do, but if Donald Trump wants to bring this fight, know that we are ready. I'm putting Donald Trump on notice.
Ooh.
All right, he's on notice,
shaking in
Steve.
his boots.
By the way, who was that? Who was that?
He's the Canadian NDP leader. He's the leader of the New Democratic Party in the legislature there.
Right. Okay, got it. So here's the thing. I mean, I just wrote a column on this with my buddy Larry Kudlow. So I think that the three of us are free traders. We believe in the benefits of comparative advantage, and when countries trade with each other, that's a good thing for both countries. But what Trump is doing here with this reciprocal tariff idea, I think, is very interesting. And I like your guys' response to this. That, so let's take Canada, for example. Canada has higher tariffs on the goods that we sell them than the tariffs that we charge them that come into the United States. We have virtually the lowest tariffs in the world, and also we don't have a value-added tax, which is also a de facto tariff as well. So my point is that Canada is saying, how dare you raise your taxes when they already have higher tariffs than we do. And what Trump is saying is, let's say Canada has I'm just making this number up, let's say they have a 15% tariff. Trump is saying, we will raise our tariff to 15% unless you lower yours. And I think what's going to happen at the end of the day, because Canada can't win this tit-for-tat war. Canada's economy can't possibly grow if they don't have access to the American economy. Same thing with China. You want to throw China into a deep, long depression, close off America's markets to them. I'm not saying we should. What I'm saying is that Trump is using America's leverage because every country has to compete and have markets, their access to American markets. And so Trump is saying, lower your tariffs or you're not going to have that. And I believe in the end of the day, Dan, and then I'll stop with my sermon, I believe at the end of the day, Canada, China, Mexico, Europe, Germany, UK, they're going to start lowering their tariffs because they're going to have to.
Well, I'm all for that. I mean, if that is the means to get to those ends of reduced trade barriers, then that would be a happy occurrence, no question.
Okay, well, that's the goal there. Now, I do not, just for the record, because I know you think I'm a sycophant for Trump. I'm not. I do not like the idea of steel tariffs and aluminum tariffs because we tried that, Dan and Amy, in the first term of Trump. And we did save some steel jobs, but we lost auto jobs, construction jobs, manufacturing jobs, and other industries because when you raise the price of steel, it makes your products less competitive. So I don't see the logic of that one.
Yeah, I agree with that, too. Let's talk about Trump's tax priorities, as articulated last week by Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary. So no tax on tips, no tax on senior Social Security, no tax on overtime pay, renewing the Trump tax cuts, adjusting the SALT cap. I want to hear about that. Eliminating special tax breaks for billionaire sports team owners, closing the carried interest loophole, and tax cuts for made-in-America products. Any of those priorities concern you?
Well, let me just start with the big picture here. The most important priority, it is absolutely critical, and it has to get done as soon as possible, is we have to make all of the Trump tax cuts permanent that we passed in 2017. And I want to make sure, Dan and Amy, that all of your listeners know that a failure to do so would mean that we would see the biggest tax increase ever in American history in 2026 on January 1st, because everybody's taxes are going up unless we make those tax cuts permanent. So that is absolutely critical. Now, these other cats and dogs you're talking about, like, we absolutely have to do no tax on tips, at least cash tips, because that's one of the reasons a lot of people voted for Trump, especially service workers.
Right.
So let's do that one.
And probably on that one, what we'll see some, sort of income thresholds, and we'll see some details on that. It's not just going to be sort of open ended, because otherwise people will start recasting their income as tip income.
I would just say cash tips. If you get, Dan, when I used to caddy for you when I was a kid,
yes, right,
carry your big bag, and you give me $2. He was kind of a cheap tipper. No, but I did caddy as a kid. I was a car parker, and I loved getting. Sometimes I'd walk home at night, Amy, with $30 in my pocket, and that was when $30 was a lot of money. So I guarantee. Don't tell the IRS this, but I never declared that income.
I don't know if you're hearing the latest news, but we're waking up this morning to find out that they're limiting the number of eggs we could purchase at certain stores.
What?
Yes, Trader Joe's saying we're rationing eggs now.
They're rationing? Oh, my God. Well, here's the one thing I don't get. Why is it that chicken wings did not go up in price, but eggs did?
Very good. That's a question for Elon, maybe, to investigate.
It's some sort of conspiracy.
The problem here is it's the egg cartel.
The egg cartel. Yeah, we gotta do something about
capping egg purchases.
Antitrust.
1 dozen per customer. I'm reading it right now. Sorry.
If you have anything more to add on the egg supply, please do. Otherwise, I want to go back to taxes.
Well, I do. I wanted to just say one thing about what's going on in Illinois. It just seems to get worse every day, and I love the Wall Street Journal editorial. You probably talked about this in previous days about maybe we should let some of these counties, out of Illinois and into Indiana or Kentucky or other states. I mean, I think that's only fair.
That'd be wonderful. Of course, it requires legislative approval from both states in question and federal legislative approval.
I think Indiana and Kentucky would. I think Indiana and Kentucky would take them.
Yeah, but Illinois
we don't want
has
to leave.
To agree.
Yeah.
Illinois has to agree.
Illinois won't let them leave. They're going to hold them captive.
You're darn right they will. That's what they do.
We have the East German model of government here, didn't you know?
Right. You can't. Yeah. What are you going to do? Build a wall?
Don't give them any ideas.
Right. That's the only way you could keep people in here. But so the rest of these tax priorities, I know he also promised no tax and overtime pay. That is rife with gamesmanship, including in the public sector. That one concerns me. No tax on senior Social Security. That makes sense to me. You provide Social Security, then you take some of it back. That doesn't make any sense. But the only.
By the way, did you guys know? Can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed to say this, but let's see. In 4 days. Are you ready for this, Amy? I turned 65.
Oh, congratulations.
And I am now, this is the day I've been waiting for. Yeah. I get Social Security, I get free health care.
What are you going to do with all your money?
Well, but I have some bad news for you. That trans surgery you wanted is no longer going to be covered by Medicare.
Dan.
That's right.
We were going to call you Susan.
Well, there you go. But I did the calculation though. By the way, if I retire on January 1st next year, I will get $2,500 a month in Social Security benefits. Dan, if I'd be able to put that money into a 401k plan,
oh my God,
you would have been
$13,000 a month. Social Security is the biggest ripoff there ever was.
100%. I know, but they clinging to your 1% return, nominal returns,
and then do you have to pay taxes on that?
Well,
Social Security.
That was my point. That
now you don't.
This is why I like Trump's idea of not taxing Social Security benefits, because what happens is if I keep working, I have to pay all these extra taxes. I lose so my effective tax rate, Dan and Amy, goes up to 50 or 60%. And so I'm probably better off just not working and sitting on my duff and watching TV all day. The price is right.
Well, okay. So what about? So again, going back to any problems, Overtime pay and adjusting the SALT cap. In what way is the SALT cap going to be adjusted?
Oh, my God. Don't get me started on that. There is no reason that people in high-tax states who vote for these fool politicians like J.B. Pritzker, who keep raising their taxes, should then come to Washington and the federal government and say, oh, give us relief from our high taxes here in Illinois. I say, hell no. You voted for these people. Why should people in Texas and Florida and Utah have to pay higher taxes because you have high taxes in Illinois? You should not be able to deduct your state and local taxes. And the 4 states that impacts the most, you know what they are: Illinois, New York, New Jersey, and California, because they've raised their taxes through the roof. And we're not, the rest of the country is not paying for you, Illinois. Sorry about that.
Well, that's why I asked. I hope that message is sent when you and Kudlow and Laffer and Johnson and Thune get together, right?
You know what I love about this, by the way, is the people, and 91% of Americans now just itemize they just take the standard deduction and they itemize. So 91% of Americans don't even take deductions. You know who the other 9% are?
The wealthy?
Really, really rich people. Yeah, really, really rich people. So I laugh when I hear these New York Democrats saying, oh, we have to give this SALT deduction to the richest people in places like, Manhattan, Silicon Valley, Beverly Hills. Why?
100%. 100%. Steve Moore, economist, author of The Trump Economic Miracle and the Plan to Unleash Prosperity, again, co-authored with Art Laffer. Steve, thank you as always.
Okay, guys, have a great week. Take care.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You're really not stuck, really. People think when it comes to paying for health care, they just have to kind of go along with the way it is.